Is it recording? And the way in which it's going to work is that I will prepare a first draft. I suspect I might ask John's advice on the conveyancing matters though. I'll prepare the first draft and Simon will then oversee it all, if that makes sense. So it would be, so I'm setting the exam subject to people like John, it could be John Russell and Simon. Simon will have the final say, I must confess, but I will be consulting Russell and John as well on this, because we're all involved in teaching this. So. Yes, I mean, was it William or somebody told me? Yes, William, I think it was, told me to keep it as close to the previous format as possible, not to do anything radically different, okay? So when I was looking through the papers, and again, this is relevant, looking at these papers, there tends to be, let's be clear.
I don't think that's the problem with the
yeah, property papers look fine to me. Yeah, I mean, they tend to be, and this is not giving anything away. If you go back through them, they tend to be, there's always a conveyancing question of some kind on them, okay? Sometimes there are two conveyancing questions, it just depends. If there aren't two conveyancing questions, then there'll be a conveyancing stroke immovables question or just an immovables question. That's sort of how it goes. Do you agree? Yeah. And then there tends to be two questions on succession stroke trust. Very little on trust. There's a huge amount of trust coming through on this.
We do property compared to what an English conveyancing solicitor would be used to. Trust impacts my practice very little.
Yeah.
We still look at it as a rather unpleasant whiff under our noses. And if you want to establish a trust in relation to your movable assets, great idea. A trust relating to a movable property, probably not a good idea. They don't fit terribly well. And even if you did do it, my advice to anyone would be, don't hold it in personal trustees, use a special purpose incorporated vehicle, then own the shares, then the trustees own the shares, because all of the problems that flow from holding it in the name of personal individuals, you avoid. And you can transfer shares easily, you can change trustees, it's just so easy. And quite frankly, if you're setting up a trust, it's because you've got a lot of money. So you can afford to have a company.
Just on that point, John, if you have, say, a couple, one who has kids, one who hasn't, and get together back home, obviously one of the kids wants to share the house.
Yeah.
So would there not be some kind of trust arrangement between the couple who buy a house then? So the one...
Never, no.
No.
Well, you'd have to set up a trust to own the house. So what you're saying is, I don't want to be a property owner.
So you just hold it in, you hold it in.
Just
the way in different ways, not
there's different ways of doing it, but yeah.
You can sort of enjoy some time. She can carry on living there until she dies. And then, you know, property is sold and half goes to his and half to her.
Yeah, you would probably have to potentially consider setting up some kind of trust vehicle.
You'd always
If you want exactly what you're describing.
So you couldn't say, right, okay, I'll be the trustee if you die first.
Well, okay, that's a trust where you've just got surviving joint trustees. But I have never, ever, in 40 plus years, bought a property on those terms.
So how do you deal with people with, you know, kids?
You either do it by way of a rather more sophisticated vesting that is introduced to you in these manuals. We do. I have toyed with the idea of bringing some examples to show you, and then I thought, no, because I'm just going to confuse you horribly. That's really advanced stuff. Let's stick to
You're not going to be examined on it, so
yeah,
don't worry.
Yeah. Well, the problem is it depends on their precise circumstances. So if they're saying that, they each have children from different relationships, well, the first thing I suggest them is, okay, so how much of the property is going to go to your family, Bill? How much is going to go to your family, Jane? And then they own it in common in those proportions. Solved.
Yeah.
But then when she dies, what happens to him? Oh, and her?
Well, the thing you then lay over the top
Yeah.
is that you'd vest it in them in that manner,
Yeah.
with survivorship as to effectively a usufruct.
Okay.
So that the survivor is the owner of a share in the new property, say the bare ownership, but has complete enjoyment of living in the property.
Yeah, okay.
Of course, when it starts to get complicated is people often come to us and say, oh, but I want that, but I also want the kids to be able to move in. Ah, okay. Exactly. Yeah. There is a point at which you start having to say to the client, you are going to have to accept a compromise. Which of these compromises is most palatable to you? You cannot have everything.
I think it's probably the crystallization on death or marriage, just the man and spouse, and then the children.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
That would be usually the crystallization of that, yeah.
Because I thought you only had two things you could really use. I thought you only had the usufruct and co-ownership, and you sort of have to fiddle with those.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, to actually achieve that's your honour.
And literally the only thing other than that is to say, right, let's look at a whole different idea. Trust.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
yeah.
So the only thing I thought was really, for example, I have a minor child, so in my will, if anything happens to both of us, that a trust will be set up for the child to be verified, so that all our property is held in income back minor. And I thought that was the only sort of situation that trust really ever came up in inheritance. Other than a trust fund first day that inherited.
Well, you could. That would be a sledgehammer to crack a nut.
So if you own property,
yeah,
joint conspire, something happens to both of you,
yeah,
own real estate and personal estate,
yeah,
and the only beneficiary you have is a minor, then you could. There wouldn't necessarily need to be a professional fee. You have it set up in your will that the minor, all property would be held on trust for the minor.
You could do it that way, yeah. Even if you died intestate. Of course, the problem is now that our succession law has been royally shafted with appalling legislative intervention. What used to happen before the current law, if you died intestate, your children would, as a matter of law, intestacy, inherit the property there and then. The mortis is the governing principle. But you were reassured that they couldn't do anything with the property because they now, under the Tutel rules, fell under the administration of a guardian. The guardian can do anything with the immovable property without the sanction of the royal court and the advice of a family council as to what is in the best interest of the minor.
I thought they had to go to court order.
Correct.
Oh,
yeah.
Right, sorry.
So not only did the guardian have to act en bon père de famille in protecting the property and the children's interest in it, he literally could do nothing with the property other than let it get some income without the sanction of the court. So you knew that it couldn't be sold or transferred or anything funny going on. Certainly couldn't borrow. The court would never ever sanction the borrowing of money, ever. Now, of course, under the new, lovely, shiny English-style law.
Yeah, it doesn't. I get very annoyed with this because I don't think it quite works with all these wonderful civil law and customary law concepts. In that,
it doesn't.
There's something really amiss in that. It worked before. Everything worked because it's evolved with civil law and customary law concepts. Let's be perfectly frank. That's what this is. But suddenly you've got this layer of English law, and actually it's it's not just the new legislation that does that. It's even the formalities for wills are sort of the new English. Sorry, that's English law as well.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's all
simply,
but it doesn't
borrowing.
fit.
It's borrowing
It doesn't fit.
ideas, but
Yeah.
they don't really.
No,
fit.
they don't fit with these concepts, which are very much, personally, I think you see this, I think the civil law concepts fit a lot better with Guernsey law.
They do.
Yeah,
Because that's where they came from.
that's where they came from. Yeah, that's right. Because they've evolved slightly differently, but you know, they've gone. But you can see the root of it. But you can't see, you know, this sort of the 75 Act in Guernsey. When I saw that, I almost had that perplexity. I must confess. I really could not believe that Guernsey had adopted that law because it doesn't fit. Because with immovables, that's all you've really got. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've just got the usufruct and co-ownership to really do everything with. If that makes sense. And you're then reliant on all the succession laws to do what you might be doing with trusts in England. So it just makes sense. And suddenly, if you bring in an English law that completely destroys that, I don't think it works. But sorry, this isn't my jurisdiction, but I think I do have to critique it because
there are all sorts of problems we haven't probably yet encountered in practice where I have looked at it and thought, oh gosh, I hope I'm never asked that question because I don't know what the answer's going to be. I'll have retired by then.
Oh yes, we are recording, don't worry. Yes.
And certainly in the case where you had a couple in this hypothetical situation you proposed, and they were suddenly killed in a car accident, they left minor children. Let's say they hadn't made wills. Well, of course, before, there would have been a lovely solution. It would have taken a little time, but it all worked itself out. But what you knew was the children were protected. Now, with the idea that you have to have an administrator appointed on an intestacy, we're now left scratching our head thinking, so how does that administrator fit in with the rules concerning tutel? Gosh. So we have these conversations in the office, because we're a bit boring like that. And we think sort of, oh, I wonder who's going to be faced with unravelling that one before the Royal Court, making an application for an administrator, who then, what are his duties as regards the minor children? I completely see the question you're asking. Now I'm struggling to find an answer. Whereas under the old law, this is what happens.
Yeah. So going back to the examining, so it really trusts your
it's it's just a little bit. I mean, I've been told not to radically change anything. I'm not going to radically change anything. And as I say, Russell and John will oversee what I'm doing, so I've got no intention of radically changing anything. The only thing I'm not quite sure about is whether I write a conveyance in English or French.
Oh no, do it in English.
Oh, okay.
No,
they're in French because I went through one the other day. I went through one in French.
I have to say, the candidates are going to do this. I like the idea of you being asked conveyancing question, but that requires you to look at a piece of title that's in French.
Yeah, they have done that. That has been
And
done. Yes, there are several.
In fact, every example I've seen Simon used over many years has always invariably used a bit of French title.
Yeah.
Because without the ability to understand what that is saying to you, in practice you would be terrified.
Yes.
Because you just wouldn't know. In fact, I'm not going to embarrass anyone, but there are some current advocates practicing in property whose French is poor enough that I do occasionally get them asking for my help. I don't like that. That's wrong.
No, I did assume that you were meant to be able to read conveyances in French. Honestly, that I did assume.
Yeah. I mean,
none of us speak French.
Well, you've just got to read it. I mean, you don't have to speak it very well, but you have got to read it.
It's the one area of law left in without question that you will struggle if you don't get to grips with that aspect of it.
Presumably a fairly standard level
Relatively, and you'll also discover.
It's the same vocabulary over and over,
Yes,
isn't
you'll,
it?
you'll
That
find,
makes sense.
you'll
You
find
sort
that what
of,
you end up with is a sort of vocabulary
Yeah.
of words.
Yes.
Once you've got
Yeah.
them, so you've probably got only about 500 words in
Yeah.
total
I agree.
that you're going to constantly come across.
Yeah.
Once you've figured out what those words mean, suddenly it all leaps off the page, and you think, oh yeah, I know what they mean.
Yeah, I do think you ought to go through the past papers. There are conveyances in French. I've seen
There's
them.
some very simple ones.
Yeah, they're very simple. Yeah, they're not, that's right. And I think you should translate. If you can't translate them like that, then I think you should spend some time translating. Because I mean, I agree with you. It's just you have a limited vocabulary, and I mean, I've got a really odd vocabulary. My normal French is rubbish. Well, I've got really good legal.
Well, even French. My French users think that.
Trust me, when I went to college, although I had no problem understanding Sophie's lecture, I used to sit there and write my notes in French. Conversing with French people when I was waiting for the bus was tortuous.
Yeah,
Because the way modern French people speak is utterly different to the French I use, which is about 200 years old.
That's correct.
And although I can understand the lectures, because I'd get, the occasional word I'd miss, but as long as I got the sense of everything, I was fine. But yes, it's quite a specialised language, and if you stuck an old Guernsey conveyance in front of a modern French person, they struggle with it. They literally don't know what the words mean, because I've done it, and they were shocked. They had no idea we were using such archaic language.
Yeah, I came across this when I started in Jersey. Because they said, can you speak French? I said, yeah, no problem. And then I get good 2 years using medieval French. You think, oh, God. But you can learn it as long as you've got a basic knowledge of French, because it's the same vocabulary, and you can get it sometimes. You can get words from context and things. Would you agree? Yeah. So you can sort of work it up, but it takes a few years. But be warned about that as well.
Yeah, it is a particular little bête noire. I suppose I should admit Simon is I think we worked it out, is it second cousin twice removed, because his great grandfather was Durat Darcy Letitia. So his mother is from the Letitia side of the family, and they were very fluent French speakers.
Are all Letitias related?
Yes.
So you are related to Matt Letitia then?
Yeah. We all come from one ancestor.
Really?
His name was Jean.
Really?
Like I say, he turned up in about 1690 with the family, and they married into the Priaulx family. You can't get older than the Priaulx. And they lived in a farmhouse just near Somewhere Park.
Yes, I support Southampton. Yeah. Right, okay. Right, I don't know how you want to do this. Shall we? Look, I'm very much in your hands, John. I want to dictate because
I might as well.
Shall we?
Let's use your worksheet.
Because it gives us a structure. All right. I'm happy. Oh, sorry. Well, no, I can't. Oh, sorry. No, I think there's. I think what I was saying. There's always a conveyancing question. Then there might be another conveyancing question, or quasi-conveyance. And when I say quasi-conveyance, I mean it's conveyancing of immovables or something like that. Or sometimes it's just an immovable question, largely on bonds. Actually, those immovable questions are.
About the order of registration.
Yeah, order of registration. There's about 3 that are pretty well the same every year.
There was a reason.
I don't mind.
In my old lectures, you would put me practically shout at the class. The most important principle you can learn in Guernsey property law is the importance of priority. Registration in Guernsey is all about priority. And English practitioners particularly struggle because to them registration is an act that actually creates something, title, which is what the law is in Alderney. You have no transfer in Alderney until you register, with the land registry. So like in England, until the land registry has said it's registered, nothing's happened. Appalling system. Hate it. But here, registration is doing a very different function. So understanding registration and priority is a real key. It's a fundamental part of our law and the way it's evolved specifically in Guernsey. So getting your head around that, very good. That's why there's often a question on it.
Yeah, they usually is a bottom question of some kind. What else? And then there's normally usually 2 succession questions. There might be a bit of trust thrown in. Sometimes I've seen a lot of papers with no trusts at all. Okay, this is just not there. Sorry?
Always in test.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's normally a tested one and an intested one. But also what I've noticed with those questions, there's a crossover. They're not compartmentalised. So sometimes you've got to know a little bit about conveyancing or removal. You know, they're not as compartmentalised as you'd like. That's sort of the structure of the paper. Sometimes I've noticed there have been 5 questions on the paper, but I'm more tempted to do 4, but I'm very much in your hands on that. Because I think that you can get more meat, if that makes sense, in 4 subjects rather than 5, which can be a bit more bitty. Does that make sense to you? So
Well, it takes some time to read the facts.
absolutely, yeah. Yes, I agree with you. So I've been
Last year there was 6.
And there was even, wasn't there an essay question that popped in? Or what, so I saw an essay question on one. I can't remember now. And I was very tempted. Again, I'd have to talk to Simon and things, but I'm tempted not to put essays on this paper because I don't see the point. I can't remember. There was an essay question. I remember I saw it on a paper. I can't remember which one now because I didn't make it. But there was a little essay question. And I thought, I don't really see the point in testing your essays because that's just is that the one with an essay question? Because it's just a memory test with no application. And I think what's important is, of course, the application of the law with a set of facts. So unless somebody does something to me and says you've got to do an essay question, I was not going to do it.
I find that very surprising because
there was one I remember because it looked really odd. I can't remember what it was. There was one. It was a tiny little question. I can't remember what it was on, but I thought, oh God, I don't really want to do that. So, unless Simon or Russell or John say I've got to do that, I have no intention of doing that for you. So I don't see what it achieves, ladies. Okay, so there will be problem questions. So you've got sort of an idea. And then the other thing that I was just going to say before we start this is that in the revision session, I can't remember how many hours we've got this. I don't know yet. I thought we would take past papers and just go through whatever we haven't done. That was it, to really prep you for the exam.
Yeah.
Happy with that? So, and you're involved in the revision session, if that's
Okay.
all right. Sorry, John. On the 31st of March, I think it was, or the 30th of March. 31st of March. You're trying to find something you're not going to. No, you will be free, John. You will be free.
That's a Sunday.
Yeah. I think Okay, right. Let's use the worksheets, and I think I managed to get worksheets to you on pretty well. I think all of the immovable property stuff. I think those should have been posted on the VLE. Am I correct, ladies? Well, it starts off sort of study weekend 2 worksheet 1. Immovables meaning a property. I mean, there's not a lot to say about that, but we can. There are 1 or 2.
They're not put up very well, so
Oh, oh.
Or are they from last week?
No, they're not last week. They're different. They are different from last week. So it says study weekend 2 or something.
I couldn't find them on the VLE.
I can't.
You are not the only one.
Oh, thank you.
I
Just 'cause
can't.
I was
No,
old and didn't know how to use it.
I have. Well, I am older. John, so I just send them out to Muriel and go, put them on, please. Thank you ever so much. And she goes, I put them on, and then I think, great, fantastic. Because I can't put them on myself because I don't have. That's above my pay grade. Okay.
Probably easier if they're just a word.
And I think we did agree last week, and we must do this again, that I have all your email addresses. Anyway, let's make a start looking at the mean.
I've been got 4, 5 and 6. That's all I find on the.
Yeah, that's all that's there.
We've got all the succession ones.
Is there a
but
copy
not
of
the
the
others.
paper around?
Yes, there is. Yours might be clean. Mine are not clean. My copies have all got. I think I sent everything to you.
You sent everything to me, so I printed off what you sent in the email. So
So it should be 1 to 6, I think.
there's 1 to 6, yeah.
All right,
Which number are you with? What's-
no, we're going to print them off for you now. There is a copy.
Oh, sorry, there was a mistake. And I think some of them might be double-sided.
Oh, right. All right, I think we're done. Let's just do, because we'll probably go to a break.
Sorry,
I mean, number 4. Keep one only because it's got a lot of case.
all times.
Let me just do 1, 2, 3 for you. And then I'll just write something for break. I'll just do comments.
I think it's because she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1.
Just again, also the conveyancing outline, which has taken an age to lash up into shape.
Is that final? Have you got that? Is that the final
That's the
version?
other ones.
I have, but I did notice the last few chapters I was desperately finishing them off beginning of this week. And I sent them out with all my changes tracked. So I wanted them to see because, of course, I make comments, some of what you've got, there are entire sections which have been deleted because I said this is absolute rubbish, please take it out.
We got the draft manual, that was pushed on the BLE, and now chapters 1 to 18 are also
Correct, yeah.
available.
However, I did notice what Muriel had put up for 15, 16, 17 and 18 had all the track changes in them. So, oh, in that case, she must have updated it. That's fine.
So at the moment, I still really, which one are you looking at? I realised the one that was out.
Oh, well, we have a defence guide.
No, she didn't, I don't have to immerse it. It's like,
Oh, you can share. Did she send an email around to say that she'd got the new one up?
Yes, she did. She sent me okay, if you've got these already, the first 3 and I'll do small ones, go to the very straightforward, so you just
Question 3 part, workshop.
yeah. Okay, and if you haven't got the others, I'll sort those out for you in a break. Okay. And have we got, can you share the immovable?
Yeah, the back is full, yeah.
And have we all got the
I was sorry. Okay, I'll use this and then I'll just copy and notes.
I can log in if it's easier. Just, but you will be fun. Yeah. Oh, it's the business. Yeah.
So hopefully I've corrected it so it's
Yeah.
Because this isn't the format of your race notes. I've seen it. Yeah.
Behind the, yeah, there's a thing there.
Here we go. 2017.
Yes.
property lines, because it was key. And because I was expecting.
I think I'm worse than that.
I just wanted to say.
That's
Yeah. It's a long one. Yeah. Yeah. That was a. No, not in that sense.
only what you do when you have that time to do that. And I pointed out to everybody, there's never ever been a question.
Yeah.
We always told you we will never be asked. Because the system is so different. You would be in 3 jurisdictions and jurisdictions.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Boss, don't worry about all the stuff.
All the inside.
No, I was going to ask, we're not, can I say that we're not going to examine?
It's never been done.
In conveyancing.
In conveyancing.
Yeah, I can't wait to know, I want to get a succession. Yeah, so please don't actually. It's like 2 minutes. So yeah, I can't say the version of the but I was going to ask you about conveyancing. Like, basically saying, no, it's not.
You need to study another course because it is so good.
Yeah, I thought it was very.
The Gordon made some flippant remark about, oh, it's similar to this.
Yeah, I didn't know.
All right, that's fine. So you will you mention
And then
the
you
chat
have
on
to
it?
taste it.
Yes. Yeah, so I'll actually get around to do that. Don't worry about it.
That's my memory. Let's say a bit. Yeah. Without two conveyances, not to start.
Yeah, they're on the VLE, but I was.
a whole lot to you.
Yeah, the problem is what Muriel put on the VLE was my track changes. So it had track changes, my comments in the margins.
Because I was interested, yeah.
Oh dear, I didn't realise that about because I've got a copy and it was, I'm pretty sure it was 1 through to 18 actually, listen to it.
Unless she's
critical.
updated it.
No, no.
Oh God, I can't do all this. This is all